Hi. Okay, so today we are going to talk about finishing your sculptures and how to photograph your work. So here is the piece. It did take almost an hour to two to dry. It's still drying. You can see the Elmer's glue is still in those seams. Um, uh, when your sculpture is secure to work with again, you're going to want to really spend time looking at it, moving it around. I added that tab and slit method piece right here, so it's actually through and I started turning it upside down, and I was like, wow, that's interesting. I like the way that looks, and I kind of just keep moving it and looking at it, seeing it from all angles, and flipping my sculpture around, really responding to it, finding the way that it looks the best. The most interesting viewpoint. And kind of right now, I'm kind of surprised, but I'm kind of liking this angle right here. There's a few things that might need changed. Like right here, this is pretty open. I might cut a little bit of this, closed. I might cut a little bit of this form out. I might look again at this attachment. Do you see how there's this like an angle right here that just kind of hangs over? That's not very finished. That doesn't have that intention or purpose. So when you come back to your sculpture, move it around, find the most interesting viewpoint, look at it, make those choices of things you want to change, cutting into it, cleaning it up, adding another shape. But our goal is to, number one, is it standing? Number two, is it interesting to look at all angles? Do I have intention and purpose, positive and negative space? Did I use those attachment methods? And I'm hitting all of those. I am going to do a few quick changes real quick and clean it up, and then show you guys how to photograph the piece. All right, welcome back. So I made a couple changes. I cut that to make it a little cleaner right here on that area. I came through, I cut out actually this shape right here and removed that. And then I kind of moved it around a few more times, and I'm really liking the zigzag motion happening here, the implied space right here. And what's nice about it is really when a sculpture can defy gravity, as this one is doing. So it's not touching here. It's having this interspace here. It's defying gravity. It becomes much more interesting to look at. So I'm thinking that this is how I like it as it's relating to the ground. It's much more landscape oriented. It's not going up into the sky, but I'm really enjoying how it's relating to the ground and to the air and all those implied spaces. It's got wonderful movement. There's got that intention to it. There's some curvilinear and rectilinear shapes in here. All right, so I think I'm done. So once you're done, you can see I put a piece of paper that I want to kind of clean off, get all my cut paper off. I want a clean white piece of paper underneath my sculpture. If your sculpture is white on white paper, you might want to consider actually photographing on something like a darker surface. But since my sculpture is just brown, I'm going to keep and photograph it on white. Now the light, I want a good light source. I don't want it washed out. I do shadow shapes are really nice when you photograph your piece. I do want to have a background so you don't have a picture of me. You can't see the sculpture as well as when you have a background. So a white background in there is really nice. When you photograph your sculpture, you are going to want to turn it around and get those different viewpoints, because your viewer only sees what you document. So definitely turn around, try to get at least 3 different viewpoints of your sculpture. So it shows your consideration and how your piece looks as as it's moving moved. When I take a photo, you can have someone assist you by holding up the paper behind your sculpture. And when you take your photo, you're going to want to use your smartphone to get a nice crop of your piece. So when you're going to take your picture, make sure you're cropping in. You're not cropping into or onto your sculpture. You have a nice air around your sculpture in the photograph, and you are getting the whole and not just parts. A detail photographs of artwork is much different than the actual photograph of the art piece itself. You want to get at least 2 to 3 photographs of your piece in the round, and submit those to the found materials sculpture assignment in your Google Classroom. Okay. When you're done with this piece, I recommend you just photograph it. Unless the lighting's horrible, wait till the next day, and that way you can submit it as soon as possible, and you can move on to finishing up your other assignments, such as reading about Alexander Calder and talking about his piece, The Flamingo. All right. Okay, it's been great. I'm so excited to see your sculptures. This is going to be one of those projects that I hope that you really enjoy. Our next project is going to be on environmental art and earth art. Don't worry about materials for that. It is very accessible. All you have to do is go outside. So next week we'll be working on that. All right, guys. Great try. Have fun. Looking forward to seeing your work.